not overwhelming either. Probably because you mix it with the hunting.
Yeah, soften it up a little bit, yeah. Like I said, the old Baton tuna is awesome, but it's really big. So this is the kind of softer version, I guess, of the kind of, yeah. The more approachable, it's more classic to Tom and Tal style without kind of overpowering people to show the core range. Are there any other questions, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, where did you get the beef from?
As the peat is from it's Speyside Peak, so it used to be Tom and Tal, and now it's near it's a bit further over, but it's produced at the same maltings we buy barley from.
Yeah.
So they dig it up and they use it to infuse the barley. Do you know how barley gets peated? I don't actually think I talked about that, but do you understand that process?
Yeah, it's used as fuel.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah, effectively, yeah, so dries barley and the barley itself soaks up the smoke, like a sponge. So it's locally done by Speyside Peat.
What does peated beer essentially taste like?
Peated beer? It's okay. Yeah, it's so, well, the ingredient itself is really pungent. So actually when peated beer would be, you tend to use a slightly lower ppm. But when we're making Ballantrae and Spirit at Tom and Tal, the whole area stinks of peat. So we're in a valley.
What's
and
a
you can
peated
smell
beer?
it miles away when you're driving up.
What is a peated beer? No. Yeah, but what is a peat beer? Is that a specific kind?
So you peat the malt for your beer, so say you smoke it.
But is there specific beers that are more peat? Okay.
There's some kind of craft beers. I don't know if there's any over here, but there's.
Okay, maybe somewhere. Yeah. No, I'm actually curious. Like, I don't know.
It's funky. I think so. It tends to be like stouts, like peated stouts or peated kind of porters. It's not a popular style, but it's kind of like a savoury style of beer, I guess.
But innocent gun finished in Lafroy cask.
Yes, they did. Well, and that's the other way of doing it. So yeah, instead of using peated cereals, what you use is a peated cask to use as a finish. So yeah, you're right, the Lafroy cask. Potch, they've got potch too. Innocent gun, but there's another one. What's it called? It's my Bitter and Twisted Brewery, but I've totally forgotten. Harveston to make it. Anyway, there's another one, Ola Do, it's called, and that's Highland Park finished beers.
Oh my god, I'm interested in all of this.
They're pretty good too.
Okay, I have a very fucking weird story. So my buddy, he manages Palais Royale, which is on the water, and he texted me 2 days ago. And he's from Russia, and he apparently met the president of Jamaica at work. He's like 55, and he's from fucking Russia. And he messaged me, and I didn't get the message because I didn't have a cell phone. But he was like, I have leftover booze from the fucking president of Jamaica. Yeah. Like, so then, like, he had like 4 fucking things at like Palais Royale on the water. It's like the oldest nightclub in the city that like weddings and stuff. And he's just like, but he's just my neighbor, and he was just like, yeah, like, and he texted me, and I didn't get the message, but like literally it was the fucking president. He's like was on his porch, and he's like, yeah, no, he's like, I met the president of Jamaica, and he's from fucking Russia, and he had like leftover booze, and it was like some fucking Ram Sorrel stuff, and they were drinking it in his apartment, and then he's been like working at Palais Royal for 14 years, and then
it's one of these things that
yeah, like it was like Ram Sorrel, like a Ram Sorrel mix, but they had like 4 or 5 because it was like.
Yeah. It's funny. So I mean, I remember during I think the last Olympics, they had it was like bragging rights in Scotland. So effectively, all the different committees, all the different countries had their kind of stock up, I guess. So there's pictures of like people with baskets of various booze, and there was always lots of stories of bragging like, ha. So Argentina's drinking my own. So it's the same kind of thing. It's amazing where your product ends up. I think, to be honest, without getting kind of sentimental and bring it back, one of the cool things about my job now, before I was just get to talk about it, it's quite nice to be able to kind of, when I travel and go to different markets, you see product that I've spent time making. When you see it on a shelf, it's quite a cool feeling. Not in a kind of way, but it's nice to see that product. It's like if I was like a really good pizza chef, people eat my pizzas all over the world. It's the kind of idea. It's a cool part of the industry. And as I said before, if any of you are thinking about distilling, do it. It's a really niche but really interesting kind of lifestyle. So definitely recommend it.
I can't do that, but I'm so, this is so cool. Like I'm interested in learning about all these things. Like, no, like I just think like the process of the way that things are made is really cool. Like, so last time I was here, it was the Japanese whiskey. Yeah, you were here. Yeah, and we were looking at all the books together in Japanese. So okay, so this is like, sorry, I'm like kind of filming and just talking, but like, but it's an interesting story. So my, like, I've been living in Toronto for 17 years. I'm from small town, white, fucking stupid Ontario, whatever. But I bartended in Parkdale for so many years. I worked at so many different bars, whatever. But the first people that I met, my first night bartending in Parkdale were fucking Daisuke, who's from Japan and who has a kid that lives in Japan and owns a coffee shop across the street from Sunfall, like literally in Parkdale. And then Carlton, who's from Jamaica and owns a house in Jamaica. He's a Rastafarian. And then Richard Betts, who was Dice's business partner, who owned this antique store with Dice. So it was like my first night ever bartending in Parkdale, and didn't know anyone in that neighborhood. And all the people that I met on my first night bartending were literally immigrants, like from fucking Japan and fucking from Jamaica. like literally. So it's funny. So I mean, this is like 8 years ago. So yesterday I changed my emergency contact to Dice, who is from fucking Japan and has a kid that lives in fucking Japan. Like, he has like a fucking, like a 17-year-old kid that lives in Japan. But cause I was just like, I don't know, cause like yesterday he was just like, yeah, like, he's just like, yeah, take the whatever. Cause I was here, I came here.
Was anyone else have questions for?
I came here for the Japanese, the whiskey tasting, and then I took the books that I took from here with like the Japanese writing, and I took a bunch of pictures, and then I took them to Dice because he's my friend, and I was like, I understand now. I understand the way that people from Japan read. They read straight up and down, and then he was like, okay, you get it. And now he's my emergency contact. He's from Japan.
Anyone else have any questions for Ian while he's
I
here?
mean, I'm just curious what your favorite peated whiskey is from other.
Whoa, that's a tough question. And again, it depends on my mood. So I've got real stuff from Cahoman. I don't know if you guys can Cahoman. They do a whiskey called Sani, so it's my kind of go-to at the moment. That's probably my lean. I love Chig, which is a peated Total morning. But
cask versions.
yeah, especially the wine cask finishes are particularly good. But yeah, it depends. So again, not as a brag, but I have no actual money, just lots of whiskey. My whiskey bar at home is relatively extensive. And again, it's kind of, I suppose it's an occupational hazard, but it's something that it's always nice to be able to pick a different flavour. I think that's the reason that whiskey's so interesting. Wine is the same, but the problem with wine is once you open a bottle, it has a limited time period. Whereas I'm a bit of a hoarder, I like to have lots of things, so you can have a couple of drams from a bottle and then try a different style, so it depends on your stuff. But yeah, so they would be kind of lean tos at the moment. So I think it's anything more exotic than that. Actually, on the other side of things, I love Ardmore, which is not particularly well known to Australia. Ardmore is actually the kind of whiskey home of teachers. But it's a peated Highland, peated space. It's a cool whiskey also. But yeah, so it depends on what I'm looking for. But that's a very good question. But yeah, I can recommend you loads of good peated whiskeys, really good. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, so tasting between the American oak of Glencairn and then tasting between the peated of the Tomatul. Sorry. With these, is there a share between what you're blending between the two? Because there is like quite a similarity in the profiles of the tasting for them. So how often is there a overlap with what you're blending for both products?
Yeah, so it'd be fair to say that for me as well, I think developing recipes, I kind of find out what works for one, and they tend to work for both. Not always the peated stock. So we tend to use a similar makeup. So like I said, the Andalusia and the Cherie are kind of the same aging profile, give or take a little, but the same cask type, same aging profile, but from two distilleries. One of the interesting things for us is how style. Both of our whiskies are quite fruity and quite light. It's one thing we maybe lack. I think if we were ever to buy another distillery, I would love to either have like a super heavy style of whiskey, like a really rich meaty style, or a heavily peated distillery. Because both of our house styles are similar but different. So similar in a good way because you can experiment with one and it gives a bit of a guide for the other. Different in the sense that they still give different whiskies, but there's a comparative. So well spotted, they are quite close in terms of style.
So let's follow up on that. Do you have a style of whiskey that you yourself are wanting to propose to like the company, and you're wanting to actually like produce as your own for something that's going to like essentially be sort of like the outlier?
Yeah. So I made one actually. So my first Toplack I brought to market is my recipe. A lot of my job is replicating or ensuring consistency for old recipes. The first one I brought was Toplack cigar malt, and cigar malt is really weird. It's the first time we've combined casks of both peated, unpeated, and sherry Toplack together. So it's a really complex recipe. The warehouse guys don't love me for it because it's a really big mix of ages and styles, all brought together and kind of remarried. So that was me changing the normal Toplack source. Instead of, we have Toplack peated and we have Toplack unpeated, but for cigar malt we literally did both. So we brought some casks of each together after maturation, not before, and made the style. So yeah, so I've started playing around. The other thing I really want to do, which is not ready yet, but I've got the casks, is Glencairn and Calvados. Glencairn's a very fruity spirit anyway. I have some Calvados casks, they're not ready yet, but the profile of like cooked apples and spiced apple with a fruity spirit, I think will be a really different style of whiskey, but I'm looking forward to the results. So yeah, there are things I'm working on. The difficulty, I suppose, is that it's not my money, not my casks, so I can get away with so much, but I can't. Effectively, I'd love to try all sorts of weird and wonderful cask types, but eventually it's company stock. So the cask that we were talking about in the car is a maple brulee, with maple syrup casks that have been caramelized afterwards. Sound incredible. That will not be allowed by the SWA, so I checked, so the Scottish Whisky Association wouldn't allow it. So I would love to do it because I think it would taste amazing, but we couldn't release it as Scotch. So as much as I tried to say to the company, we should buy these, they're like, what are we going to do with them? I was like, I'll drink them.
We will.
Yeah, exactly. But it wouldn't be allowed to be called a single malt or a Scotch whisky, so we have to call it BSD. Yeah, it's called, it'd just be called a spirit drink, I guess. But, so yeah, there are casks